Greetings and salutations, Internet. This is Wolfphototech, and here we go with another little fun review of Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition D&D Spellbook cards Ranger. This is literally the smallest deck. It is literally only 46 cards in it. This contains only spells from the very earliest books for Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, as well as the Player's Handbook, which pretty much is just the Player's Handbook. There's an expansion set, Xanathar's Guide to Everything spell cards for this, and that's about as far as GaleForce 9 got with the spell cards. This, as I said, is the smallest deck. Is a nice little box. There's a little price tag on the back, $6.99. The cards are actually well formatted overall. You got the name, you got the range, you got casting time, you got duration. If there's a C right here, it means it's concentration, as you can see there. You got components, the text of the card. If there is material components, there'll be a line on the top here listing the types of material components on the cards. Oops. Like right there, there'll be listing of material components. And if the spell, the general text will actually explain the spell. If the spell list, if it's too long for the zone, it will state here, please see page, which is kind of sad actually that they did that on these cards. And then there's the upcast or the auto up leveling. If this was, say, a cantrip, there would be the auto leveling here. And if it's just a regular leveled spell from 1 to 9, this would be the upcast when you use larger spell slots. You have the class down here, and right next to it in this blank zone would be the subclass that the spell would go to if it's specifically to a subclass. So there you go. And that's also an example of the please see page It's always referencing the Player's Handbook on the back side of the card. It's just the symbol for the class as well as the number. These cards are actually exceedingly good, and they're actually well made overall for entirely new players and collectors of official Dungeons & Dragons merchandise. However, once you and disorganized players that need spell aids, it's to keep track of stuff because they are so mentally disorganized that they literally have to have a spell out on their table that they can pick up and read, or go to a page in their book that has the page in the book that tells you what it is. These cards, however, on the negative side, they don't make any newer sets after Xanathar's Guide. So this is like the last new one as far as spell cards are concerned. And they pretty much don't get errataed for the most part, as far as I know. But other than that, they're actually pretty decent. If you need to make more spell cards, you can always just use an index card for them and just keep them with the cards. And another little bag right behind them for the new stuff. So there you go. These spell cards are roughly a 3.5 star, 3-ish star. They're physical media. You can always use them even when the internet's down, unlike D&D Beyond or any other digital service. You can also just use the book, but it's a little bit easier and quicker to use spell cards and index cards for stuff like that. On the side note, it's kind of sad that they don't have an Artificer deck, and they do not make newer sets of cards for later books and later spells. However, considering that in, say, like Rime of the Frost Maiden, there's only 2 new spells, and one of them gets reprinted into Tasha's. And Adventures Incorporated only has like 5 or 6 spells, or is it 9? Anyways, there's only a handful new spells each book. It doesn't make sense to make a deck with only 9 cards in it. So it's kind of sad that Wizards of the Coast really doesn't advance that along with GaleForce 9. I'm one of the reasons why I'm making these videos is as a comparison video. So when you see these spell cards and like I show you them, I talk about them, I complain a little bit about them, review them, and then I pull out the Pathfinder 2nd Edition cards or some other third-party cards. Now you have a reference point back to these cards. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and consider subscribing and tell me what you think about the video. If you dislike it, tell me, hit the dislike button in there. And thank you very much for stopping by. Have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful week, and a magnificent month. And see you next time.